So I've been working on this, X to the X. This is my IY collapse cross-section plane. This is my XY plane shy the imaginary spiral. And these here, they look like little tongs, little pinchers. Pinchers of power. Just saying. Alright. So we'll get rid of that. Trying to understand structure. Shown this image a few times. This image being interesting to me because in its revolutions it's holographic, so when its two-dimensionality is squished it looks as though it's rotating, and it appears three-dimensional because of something to do with the ratios of the harmonics of its shape. And these are just images of me exploring overlaps of that, which is all just the same Archimedes spirals arranged in different ways with different color filters shifted over each other and put over each other. So it's infinite possibilities, but I come up at times with these interesting shapes, and I see the same shapes again and again, but then at other times they're different, and when something strikes me is when I stop and save it. So if I have 6,000 files of these images, I might have went through 60,000, 100,000, 600,000 images, because I go through a lot more images than I save, and there's probably a lot that I saved that I shouldn't, and there's many that I could have saved that I didn't, that I lost. This is one of my favorites, and it's all just from interference patterns of Archimedes spirals, and we get these beautiful structures, shapes, anatomical shapes, symbolic shapes, textual shapes, frieze-like three-dimensional 2.5, three-dimensional shapes, six-dimensional shapes, from one of the most basic two-dimensional shapes in Archimedes / Pythagorean spiral. And the way I do it is with basically with seeds of life in an Archimedes spiral. Seeds of life being the 6 circles around a circle. I might have the name wrong. I'm not very good at this stuff. I just put shit together and see what happens. Mostly I flip over stones. Sometimes I try to be rational about things. Sometimes I try to figure out things rationally. Here I'm trying to figure out tau over 7. I've gotten nowhere. I mean, I know it's somewhere in here, and I could make it good enough. Like, I could do it good enough to make a 7-sided figure that's more or less practical on this circle, but I'm seeking perfection. So you wouldn't know it by the way I live my life, but in my mind, in my intent, in my soul, like in my inner being, I'm seeking perfection, and part of that is perfect shapes. Always been that way. May always be that way. Perfect shapes. Chaos, movement.
You've reached 272-7638. Please leave a message.
But yet there's perfect.
Dave, it's Mark Durson from Hello America. Can you give me a call back?
It's perfect beneath everything, right?
I'm wondering why you haven't called me back.
For me, there's mostly mistakes along the way. So let's see what else I can come to in this mess. It's old home days. You can hear the fireworks in the background. So a lot of people having fun. I'm trying to have fun. Spirals, interference. This isn't the image I used. This is me trying to find a more refined image, but I think that I had a better refined image here when it was less refined. If that makes sense. Like I made a mistake somewhere, but I think I might have made the right mistake.
But as time passed, few ever became any qualities I actually had. And all the possibilities I faced, and the sorts of people I could be, all of them got reduced every year to fewer and fewer, until finally they got reduced to one. To who I am.
But first, Dave Spritz has a check of our national weather. Dave?
Well, thanks, Brian. Well, it feels like spring if you're in the Northeast. Is it going to last? Let's take a look. We've got a warm weather system to thank these high temperatures.
Mike's ready for school?
60 to 61.
Class?
60 New York. Let's go, guys.
So, in these images,
That's your national weather. I'll be back with your local focus at the bottom of the hour.
I've accidentally come upon human form. And what's particularly interesting here, and I'm going to have to expound upon it further, is here we have essentially a face with outstretched arms, but also what appears as arms coming downward. This is the belly region. This would be the pelvic region, which only really shows up in about this light. And when I show a more pure picture,
Maybe because I carry a bow around. I don't know.
when I show a more pure picture of this, maybe you'll be able to see it
I go back to Chicago weekends. Keep it
better,
steady
but
going.
there's an outstretched form.
Do the weather. So, forecast? Come on. Another man's with my family. Things didn't work out the way I predicted. Accepting that's not easy. But easy doesn't enter into grown-up life. I'll take this American accomplishment. That's where I live. Behind Fire Brigade 47. Okay. But in front of SpongeBob.
What about Bob?
Hello, America.
So I have this image. You can see shoulders in this region, nipples, a somewhat lion-esque form in the middle, which I'll elucidate at a later point. But one of the most interesting things about this image, I was hoping to say more here, but I guess where I thought I might make 1 or 2 videos, I'll probably make a friggin' 1,000. Is that in the neck region, oh, come on. There's what looks like a seal. And in my totem images that I've made, like, I'm very interested in the totem images, the vertical totem images. Very interested, and there's many seals, many signs, many symbols, many animal forms that come up, and they're seals. But when you come up with a seal that looks like a seal, that seems to be, like, really important. It's kind of like, I wanted to make a book one time, and I have a few notes somewhere of, like, when you're studying symbolism, or symbols, S-Y-M-B-O-L, the first place to start would seem to be with a symbol, C-Y-M-B-A-L. Like in a marching band, in a war, a symbol looks like, I mean, basically symbols look like nipples. They look like a lot of other things too, but studying symbolism, you have S-Y-M-B-O-L and you have C-Y-M-B-A-L. So the first place to start is in the difference between the C and the S and the O and the A. And you can go on from there. But yeah, a seal that looks like a seal. That ain't nothing. And then also, in the belly region, associated with this dude, which I got this book because it was recommended by Santo Spinacci. And in the belly region, which is associated with Leo, which I've been kind of big on lately, lion, yellow and black, which does seem colors associated with this time of year. Leo, yellow, take away both ends and you essentially get Leo mishmashed. Yell, low, yell, low, a low yell. Just saying. Some of these things seem like they're just like, oh, well, that's just like poetic, but a lot of people put a lot of time into the development of the English language. Like, the English language was made by people on purpose. The English language as we know it today. There are many, 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 many secrets in the most obvious of things. But anyway, being as though the lion is associated with the belly, Taurus is associated with the neck, a seal, which is in the neck region of this image, is called a bull or a cow. So here we have a seal that looks like a seal of a bull in the Taurus region of an image of a man. And we get, well, that's just under a different color filter, the same image. And here we have, I would say it's a lion-esque image. Maybe I'm wrong there. But this is in the belly region of the man figure. And I would say it is a lion-esque image. And this was from essentially the original image. I put it through a color filter, so the purple screen that I had for the seal was where I recognized that there was a seal there. But this is more closely related to the original image that I made, though It doesn't mean that the colors were necessarily correct. But yeah, to me, my original impulse for this image was that it was lion-esque, and maybe I'm over Rorschaching it, but the fact that in the belly region you have a lion-esque image that's associated with Leo, and that in the neck region you have a seal, which is a bull or a cow. In the Taurus region, makes me feel a whole lot more like I'm not just... See, that's the thing, like, we're pattern recognizing, pattern seeking beings, and like, it's become the modern day, you know, or the postmodern day critique that, oh, well, we find order in things. But the real problem, see, that's the thing too, is we put order versus chaos. We put reason versus imagination. And we put logos versus mythos. But these are, I think, all incorrect categorizations. And I think what we call order is really category. And what we call chaos, like category, is the order that we've come to know, though incomplete. Chaos, what we call chaos or random, is the order that we don't know, that we've yet to identify and incorporate. So reason isn't logos. Or, I'm sorry, reason isn't what we consider logos. Like, perfect reason is the marriage of categorical order and chaotic, unknown order. There's a known order that we're wrong about, and there's the unknown order that we can't yet begin to conceive. And then there's the order that is. More later.